Set will be live in 30 seconds. Lisa's changing perceptions.
Can I announce or no?
Yeah, you'll be able to. Yes.
Well, that's my point.
Yeah, but
Or am I throwing the ball out to the empty field again?
no, it's okay. The ball, they can go pick the ball up. It'll be fine.
Why didn't you make some coffee?
Screw you. Change that perception. All right, here we go.
Now I want some.
I'll make it. Welcome to Lisa's Changing Perceptions. Lisa is the creator of Changing Perceptions. Through life experience, she's discovered that we all suffer into easier for me to say. So professional here. What a great thing. Well, if you want to know what she does, check her out at www.lisaschangingperceptions.com. Or give her a call at 262-573-7055. Today, ... Welcome in, Lisa.
Oh, it's going to be one of those.
It already is one of those.
Don't we have a sponsor we need to honor real quick?
Oh, yes.
So professionally.
Yeah, sorry about that, John. Of course, Lisa's Changing Perceptions brought to you through the financial support of our good friends over at Natural Therapy Wellness Center, www.mchenrymassage.com, 815-385-8190. No better way to change your perception than a good massage. So there you go.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see you all again. For
You want
those of
coffee?
you who are new. You what?
You want me to make coffee?
No. I'm Lisa with Lisa's Changing Perceptions. I'm a self-empowerment coach. I should say self-proclaimed self-empowerment coach. Diplomat hypnotherapist and certified NLP practitioner. And we come here every week to talk to you about things that help you to improve your view of life, your view of yourself, your view of your family and the world. And today we got nothing.
Well,
I walked in. Ken's like, what's the show about? I'm like, I don't know. ...
Yeah,
that's why it's ... My other half asked me yesterday, so what's your show about tomorrow? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, what? I'm like, I don't know.
All right.
I got nothing. So today we're just going to kind of chat. And if anybody has any random questions that they would like to ask, please feel free to ask. We're just going to chat. I'm honest that
let me just put a link up there, and heck, if somebody wants to pop in,
they are more than welcome.
They can join the show.
You can join the show. You can ask in Facebook chat. I'm sure I told Kent he's going to have to pull me through this one because just truly I have nothing.
Well, there's a lot going on, right?
Yeah,
in the world, and they're talk about perceptions on a lot of things, and really from the last time we met, people are a little worried, on edge, and maybe this is Aquarius. Maybe this is the age.
Well, and it's. I mean, we can get on that topic. I had a conversation with my friend Christina this morning, with what's going on in the world, and I'm not getting into politics. I'm getting into the reality of things. There's so many things happening in so many different areas that affect so many different people in so many different ways, and all of that. And I think it's causing a lot of inner turmoil. And that's kind of what I tried to broach on last week a little bit too, is that everybody's life has been different and everybody's had different experiences. And because there's so many aspects that are being stirred, I call it stirring the shit pot.
Oh.
The only way you can bring it all to the surface is to see it. But there's so many things happening in so many different areas and people are reacting. Our problem, or the problem that I see often, is that we're only reacting to the parts of it that affect us personally. And because we think that what affects us personally is the only thing that really matters, then there's all this conflict. But what's affecting me should be affecting you, and what's affecting you doesn't really matter because look at mine's bigger,
right.
And there's all this conflict going on. And funny enough, this week my client base has increased immensely. I've gotten many calls.
Oh
because
yeah.
people are struggling. People are struggling, and a lot of anxiety, of course, is coming up, which anxiety stirs. Anxiety basically, severe anxiety basically is your fight or flight mechanism in overdrive.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like putting your fight or flight in overdrive and you don't know where the off switch is. And that can manifest in people's physical as well through stomach
Yeah.
issues, headaches, and depression. And it's funny because somebody I know was battling depression not long ago, and they're like, "What's wrong with me?" I said, "Nothing's wrong with you." Now, again, with exception to a medical problem causing it or a long gated situation, my opinion of depression is that your spirit's way of going, shh, I need to
Mm-hmm.
talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Shh. Because what do we do when we get depressed? We curl up by ourselves in the quiet and we just allow.
Yeah.
We just allow. Now, again, with exception to elongated or a physical chemical reason that you're responding in a way
Yeah.
that's not creating a healthy, happy. But for short periods of time, sometimes it's our body, our mind, our spirit saying, shh, you need to go quiet for a little while. You need to settle down. And I'm getting a lot of calls about severe anxiety,
Well.
people with stomach things thinking that they're developing eating
Mm-hmm.
disorders. And what can happen often is that when we think about when we're upset about something or when we're stressed about something and we feel like we can't speak,
Mm-hmm.
what do? We go, that all goes into the belly.
Yeah.
That stress and and that can cause nausea, stomach problems, stomach reactions. Um, those are things that we need to pay attention to. And I'm just finding this week that I'm just overwhelmed with it. And trying to sort it out. And it's very difficult at times when you do the spirit empath connection thing and then you work in an area where people come in with a lot of different struggles
Mm-hmm.
to bounce yourself back and forth to your own self, if that
Mm-hmm.
makes sense. Like to not, because when
Well.
I'm in with a client, I'm feeling their vibe. I'm trying to get at their
All right.
level. I'm trying to understand it from their perspective. And then I got to pull out and go to the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And allow a completely clean slate. And it's been a struggle a little bit more this week because with the outside influences as well coming in. So that's when I walked in this point. I'm like, I don't know. I got nothing.
Well, here's and here's why you have nothing. Are you ready for this?
Sure.
Information overload,
Absolutely.
right? It's when we were growing up, you got the information when you needed to do a book report.
Right.
You got your information between 6 and 6:30 on
The
the
news or
local
the
news.
encyclopedia.
Yeah. And now I heard a lot of conversations this week. Oh my gosh, I'm just glued to what's happening in the Ukraine. I'm just glued here. I'm just glued there. I can't get enough. Really? And I think with now 24-hour streaming of TikToks and this and that and
Right.
everywhere, it's information overload. Not and let's step back a minute and I'll get your opinion on this because I know you know more about it than I do, but just having these phones in our face all the time, does that create information overload?
Absolutely.
And from what I understand, the information overload kind of paralyzes you from making decisions.
Well, and here's what's happening too. And it's happened for a long time. And I deal with this in my office, mostly with teens, but truthfully, us adults are just as guilty of it. Is that even the as far as the phones and the TVs and things go, there's the blue lights. People talk about the
Yeah.
blue light images.
Hmm.
When we leave our phone on when we're sleeping, but our brain is still alert. Right.
Yeah.
And every time it's just like sleeping with the TV on. And I am one that likes to fall asleep to the TV, but try to have a timer on your TV to where it shuts
Shuts off.
off. Because even though you remain sleeping, as the sounds change and as the lighting changes in the room, and you watch TV and then a commercial comes on, all of a sudden, oh, it's all loud.
Right.
Not all
Yeah.
TVs auto adjust like that. So all those changes, your brain is responding to all those changes even while you're sleeping. So it's causing a lot of people to feel unrested even in their sleep. And some of that is the mind working in the sleep, but some of it is outside influences. Our phones, yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't want to turn off their phone when they're sleeping. And that is causing it to be a problem. So I've suggested to people who absolutely cannot turn off their phone. I worry about it in bad weather and stuff. I don't turn it off because it's my only way for my daughters to reach me if there was a problem, to say, hey, mom, I'm stuck, or, hey, whatever. But put it in the other room at minimum face down, so that
The lights don't.
Right. So, because if it's sitting at your nightstand right next to you, flicker, 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 and you may sleep through it, but your brain does not.
Yeah.
Your brain wakes and alerts. And so, what's one of the one things that makes everybody really crappy? Lack of sleep,
Oh.
exhaustion. It's actually a torture mechanism
Oh.
to
Yeah.
not allow
Yeah.
people to sleep. So
Interesting.
our
Never thought of
brains
that.
aren't sleeping.
Mhm.
And then when our brains are awake, what are we doing? Overloading it with
Over
all kinds
still.
of information, digital images constantly.
Yeah.
And we're going to go back to this that I've said on the air before. Now, I don't mistake me. I'm reading the things, I'm watching. But yesterday, the other half actually said, "Can we just go for a drive?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah. And our phones were not out. And we just drove around farm roads and look at the sunshine. Isn't it beautiful
Oh, it's a
out?
beautiful day yesterday.
That talk about we came back, I took a nap in the chair. Like I was just so relaxed. And that's what people need to remember to do is just step away from it. And I mentioned it the other day when you were doing the grounds. Stay in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
It's okay to see what's going on. It's okay to be informed and it's okay to care about it.
Mm-hmm.
Get in your wheelhouse.
Good morning, Mary. Mary Sutherland says, yeah, this Ukraine watching is just another form of reality show that people are hooked on.
Correct. And not that we shouldn't care. I have great respect for the people of Ukraine right now. We were talking about, and I'm not getting into that conversation on the air, but I have great respect for that. But here's the truth. You can care and you can be aware, but stay in your wheelhouse.
Mm-hmm.
Because the reality is you can't do anything about that. Right now, you can't physically go change that. But if you stay in your wheelhouse, you can change your environment, which will spread out to the next environment, which will spread out. You can change your wheelhouse. And if everybody changed their wheelhouse a little bit, everybody brought their energy up in their wheelhouse, some positivity to their wheelhouse. Guess what? If everybody did that, everything improves.
That's right. Well, and you have to be careful, right? To take a look at the show The Bachelorette or The Bachelor.
Oh, good God.
Okay, so let's just at any one given time, what self-respecting human being would be like, hey, I just saw you making out with Lisa. I want to make out with you now too.
Right.
Minutes after, right? For a flower. Here you go. Right.
It's fame. It's notoriety.
And so I go back to the old movie, Wagging the Dog. And yeah, this is, you're being fed information that somebody wants you to be fed.
Right.
It's very, very lopsided. And because they want you to believe a certain way, as I said on a show earlier this week, there's always a good guy and a bad guy.
Right.
And who are we building to be the bad guy?
Well, and the thing is, and again, it's not always just over there. It's in our own wheelhouses, in our own environments. And people have asked me, how do you do it? And truthfully, yesterday was a great reminder because I say it, but I don't always do it. And just going for that ride down the farm roads without the phones on.
Yeah.
I remembered, gosh, it's pretty out here. Gosh, the sun.
Gorgeous. The snow was glistening.
Yeah, and the sun. And the other morning I took a picture of the trees because it had rained and then it froze and they look like glass.
Yeah,
and
I did too.
Sometimes to just step away from all of that and to pull yourself back into your own wheelhouse. Where am I right now? And there's this big thing out there now that it's this disillusionment that if I do that, then I don't care about those other things.
Right.
No, part of me knows for a fact, and I get lost in it too. So it's not, I'm not throwing stones at glass houses, we forget that if we get so wrapped up in that, we can't do anything about our wheelhouse. If it were to come to us, we can't do anything about it because we haven't self-cared enough. And yesterday was such a great reminder, just going for that ride and seeing the farms and the horses and the sun and the fresh air and just, it does. We talked about grateful and gratitude. It brought a sense of gratitude back again of, gosh, this is peaceful.
Yeah.
And yes, I did say we're lucky we're able to do this right now.
And we live in a beautiful part of the country here.
And we're really blessed to be able to do this. And it was stepping away from the electronics and the gadgets. And it's funny because the other day, the other half said too, by the way, I ordered us a game. What? And it's funny because it's the game of sorry. Have you ever played the game of sorry?
Yeah.
Well, he's brutal. He says it's me, but I'm thinking he's brutal in the game of sorry. But you need 4 players. We ever played it with kids. And he's like, no, I found one that's only 2 people. I'm like, we're going to have our own war in the house now, are we? But it was fun because it was like, you know what? That doesn't take electronics. And it's just 2 people sitting there in your own wheelhouse going, this is good. It's those simple things that remind us where we are, what we are, who we are. And it doesn't mean that we don't care about what's out there,
Right.
but sometimes we'll get transfixed on things that we actually can't change. There's nothing that we've been presented in our wheelhouse that can change it, but we can change it slowly by changing our space.
Yeah.
Allowing yourself to be a free space for somebody who can't get through it, whatever it is. And I found myself all week overwhelmed just with,
Mm-hmm.
oh my gosh, if you had to feel like you had to fix everything, what the hell would you pick first?
Yeah.
I mean, it's just everything's a new level.
Yep.
I don't know how else to put it. And that's why when I walked in this morning, even when I was asked, I'm like, I don't know what it's about, because I don't know that I could pick a topic in this moment.
That's crazy. Sandy Lou, good morning, says, have you found yourself being more grounded than ever during these unsettling times?
At times, and at times the opposite. I found myself creating myself to be more grounded.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? That's actually something anybody can do. And it's probably outside the box for some, but like I always say, what's the worst thing that happened? Nothing. So
Nothing. Right.
is that when you're starting to feel that way, literally put everything down and sit and close your eyes and pull in deep, but pull in breath into your belly and physically feel and pull. See your energy, feel your energy pull back to you and pull it back within you. Because what happens is we start to kind of feel the anxiety can build when we start to feel like we're falling outside of ourselves. And we're falling outside of ourselves when we're placing ourselves into far away things or things that are not in our wheelhouse. We'll start to feel lost and flighty. So to just take a few minutes and close your eyes and just sit quiet and go, and literally see and feel your energy pulling back into you. And you'll find yourself after a few breaths going, okay, I'm a little more relaxed now, because you're pulling your energy back. We actually give energy out. We put energy out there. Take a few minutes to pull it back to you. And you'll find that that's a grounding mechanism. Some of us meditate or do whatever. That's fine, but we don't always have time for that. In the reality of life, we don't always have time for that. But you do have 2 minutes to close your eyes and pull your breath in. And if you really genuinely don't have 2 minutes for that, I've just discovered your problem and there's no bill.
There you go.
If you can't take 2 minutes a couple times a day, you know what I mean, to pull yourself in
So
and
true.
give yourself a moment, then we found your problem and I won't charge you for that
true.
advice.
Yeah.
Everybody's got it. It's a matter of prioritizing it.
Yeah, and it's a matter of and this is what I've told my kids when they're asking me about this. I'm like, I don't what you're watching all this or taking all this information overload in. How are you going to help? Right? I mean, unless you go over there and grab a rifle and stand next to the Ukrainian people, how are you going to help? So what?
That's what I mean by it's
right?
not something we can
Yeah.
change. So it's not that we don't care. Of course we do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something. Why are you giving all your energy to something you can't
Right.
change? Pull yourself into energy that you can change. And this can be an opportunity to see what is affecting me most.
Yeah.
Where are things making me angry? Where are things making me sad? Where am I feeling hopeless?
Yeah.
Because those are things within you, and that's how you change your wheelhouse. I've discovered things about myself with some of the things going on, going, wow, I never realized I really thought that way. And I wouldn't have had the situation not arose that I went, ooh, look at me having an attitude problem. Or look at, ooh, I just judged that really big.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at myself for judging it. Judgment came up.
Right.
The key is, wow, where'd that come from? Why do I feel that way? Does it mean I always change how I see it? No. But I'm at least aware of it, and I'm aware of what's coming up, and I'm aware of what's going on. So this can be opportunity to pull up and stir your personal shit pot, not just the world one.
Well, and it's a good opportunity to control your surroundings, right? So, in other words, a lot of people have come up to me and said, "Oh man, did you see that?" No, I don't watch the news. I don't. If I read something, I mean, I'll read it twice. So I'll read wherever it is that caught my eye, and then I'll read the other side of it, right? Because there's usually two sides of it.
This is going to stir the shit pot. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
And I'm playing with this. David, did you notice my hair is long?
It is long today.
You know what it is? It's a big old fake ponytail.
Oh, nice.
Isn't that cool? And I keep playing with it because I keep seeing it and I can't usually see my hair. This is going to stir the shit pot a little bit.
All right.
But
It is.
I did a
it's
show
your
like,
show. It's your show.
yeah. So I've had the comment made, and I've seen the comment made, why isn't God helping us? And my response to that is, what makes you think this isn't?
Right.
Now, for all of you that are going to attack me and tell me that God caused all of this, no, I do not believe that either. But what makes you think that this can't be opportunity for us to view ourselves, our perceptions, and our life a little bit differently? That usually will cause some big screaming.
Sure.
I don't mean it in that way. And you can perceive it however you choose to perceive it. And I will tell you that my intent behind that is so heartfelt that I'm trying not to cry.
Yeah. Good morning, Lisa. Lisa.
Good morning.
Says, we are allowed to feel happy emotions and joke during scary times like this. I read this yesterday from a Catholic priest, and that calmed me. Maybe that message can help others. The only good thing about all of this coverage on TV about Ukraine is now there are even more prayer and positive energy reaching them.
And that's an energy vibration change. And that is something you can change within your wheelhouse. Yeah. And then you have people who will choose to argue with you about what prayer is. I don't give a shit what you think prayer is. It is whatever it is for you. What makes you say, my heart wants something better? What makes you say, my heart wishes for something better? Mm-hmm. What makes you say, I feel I want something for myself or for someone else? What makes you envision something better? I don't care what you consider prayer to be, whether it's in a building, on your knees with a book, or whether it's in your backyard in a hammock in quiet. Anywhere in between, whatever it is. But that's a positive vibrational change within your wheelhouse. That's wishing for something better. That's hoping for something better. And when we can start to do that, even if we have to fake it till we make it in the beginning, that's a reality. Sometimes you got to fake it till you make it in the beginning. But if you continue to do that, you can change your vibration of it. You can change how you feel about it. You can uplift your own view. And when you uplift your own view and your own emotions, you change your own in four walls. Mm-hmm. And when you change your own four walls, when you leave your four walls, that comes with you. And then you change it for the next person that you run into, and the next person that you run into, and the next person you run into. Spread it that way. Those are things that we can do to make a difference. And I don't mean just because there's world catastrophe right now. My thing is that why aren't we doing that every day, all the time anyway?
Yeah.
Why does it take world catastrophe? So that's why I answer the question the way I answer it.
Yeah. And Lisa says, yeah, hey, I'm not promoting any religion, just spreading hope.
Right, yeah. Exactly. And it's perfect. Mm-hmm. That's perfect. And I'm glad that people feel that way. And everybody who knows me well knows that I'm not the whole rainbows and butterflies and unicorn farts and all of that stuff. I'm just not. Is there anything wrong with it? Absolutely not. But that's not my thing. Mm-hmm. But my thing is that, you know what? You can do no harm. You can do that. That is a possibility in life. Yeah. And you can choose to say, you know what? Everything sucks, but today I'm not going to.
Mm-hmm. And understand that in every, I don't know, tragedy, if you want to call it tragedy, there's an opportunity for everybody to jump on that trolley for their own fight and their own cause, right? And that really has nothing to do with anything, but all of a sudden, and I'll go back to when Pete passed away. Mm-hmm. You were on the front line of that as I was, and what did everybody say? They did. Oh my gosh, was he vaccinated? Right? And finally, I snapped on a couple of people. I said, the only reason you're asking is so that it fits your story of your agenda, your decision, whatever the case may be. So the truth is our friend is dead.
Well, right? That's what I said when I called I'll just say that that's a true thing, because that when I called the ICU, when I was trying to get information on him, it was the day before he actually passed. And I called the ICU in the morning. I was here with you for whatever reason. And I called the ICU and I explained, I'm not family, but this is somebody important to us. And I was trying to get, and that was what the woman on the phone said to me. Because I said, this is the situation, just so that you know, and we're trying to find out how he's doing. And his wife is there too. And, and she said, was he vaccinated? And I reacted. I did not respond. Right. I reacted. And I said, why does that mean whether he deserved to die or not? And she said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be offensive. I said, you probably didn't mean it, but it was.
Right. Right.
It
And
was. And it was that and again, I'm not getting on the freaking vaccine topic, so
right.
nobody
No, no,
start it
no.
with
Oh,
me.
I'm just
But
saying
it's
that
the
this is the
principle of
trolley that
this is
people
how
jump
I
on.
see it.
Yeah.
So this is how it has to be. And I look at it as the bully on the playground thing.
Correct.
You know, like I've told people before I had an argument with my uncle, and I don't have to worry about him listening because he hadn't spoken to me in years. But he is a minister,
Mhm.
and he doesn't believe in what I do, and he believes that I don't connect with spirit, that I talk to Satan, and that's fine. And he has said, "I'll pray for you." I'm like, amazing, rock on.
Yeah.
Everybody needs more prayers.
Thanks. Yeah.
Bring them. Um, and he had a 3-hour debate with me one time about this, and I didn't really debate all that much. I like, my idea of debate is to ask questions about what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
That's my idea of debate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna question.
Seek first
I'm gonna ask
understand.
questions,
Good.
correct? And at the end of 3 hours of back and forth, um, he said, "Did I change your view?" I said, "You did." And he got so excited.
Yay.
And he goes, "I did?"
Let's get
And he's so
baptized.
excited. I said, "Yeah, my faith is so much stronger in what I believe now than it's ever been." He goes, "What?" Like defeated. And I said, "In all this time, these 3 hours, literally 3 hours, my family will back it up. They were there just watching. Not once did you even attempt to see it from my perspective. Not once did you ask me a question about my belief.
Mhm.
But you bullied me, told me I was going to burn, you've told me
Yeah.
everything under the sun
Everything.
about that." I said, "And I view you now as the bully on the playground because the majority of the time, as we all know as we grow up, but we didn't know when we were little, the bully on the playground's a coward.
That's right.
And so the more people the coward can get to back them, then they have to believe in it because, well, if all these other people believe, then what I'm doing must be right, kind of thing." And I said, "That's what you appear to me now as, is the
Mhm.
bully on the playground." So now, even if I wanted to research what you were trying to tell me, I'm not going to, just because of what you taught me. So thank you.
Yeah.
And he's never spoken to me again. That was years ago. He's never spoken to me again. He has nothing to say to me. Absolutely. And it was for silly things. Like I don't advertise it on here, but I'm a Reiki master, and Reiki is just a
Mhm.
healing energy
Yep.
source. Okay. And it's something that and I'm not going to get into great details about it. It's not something I advertise. It's something that I use, but I use it personally and for myself and for the people that I
Mhm.
work with. And my aunt, his wife, had she knew I did it, and she believed in what I did, and her neck was really, she has rods in her spine, so she gets back and neck problems. And she said, "My neck really hurts. Can you Reiki my neck?" That's how all this started. And I said, "Sure, if you want to sit down here in front of the chair." So I was working with her neck and working with the energy of her neck, and she got up after, I don't know how long, 15, 20 minutes, whatever. And she went and said, she goes, "Thank you. I can turn my head now." And that made my uncle pop. And he goes, "How do you know it's the Reiki that helped her and not her thinking it's the Reiki that helped her?" I said, "Well, that's the difference between you and me." And he said, "I don't give a shit. Her neck feels better.
Right. Who
You can
cares?
believe whatever you want to believe.
Who cares?
Either way, your neck felt better."
Right.
"Well, how do you know?" I said, "Why do I need to know?" I said, "That's the difference between faith and what you scream at me.
Right.
I don't need to know why. I just need to know it works."
Yep.
And I don't know I don't need to know for sure who or how necessarily, just what I believe and that I believe it works. What difference do you make? Your wife can turn her head now. Isn't that the bottom line?
Isn't that good?
And that's when the 3-hour debate that I was going to burn began.
Lisa asks if you offer classes for Reiki.
I do not. Okay, I will do a quick thing on Reiki. There's different levels of Reiki, and I'm about to offend every person who is in the teaching modality of Reiki. So excuse me, and I have no intention of doing that, but I'm going to be honest with somebody who asked me a question. There's Reiki 1, there's Reiki 2, there's Reiki Master, and then there's Reiki Master Teacher. So when I was learning I shouldn't say how to, when I was discovering my gift, so to speak, is to see and hear spirit, I had gotten to a point where I was at a lull and I wanted to learn more, and I was sick of reading books and, the whole thing. So I have a girlfriend, my friend Sarah, that I talk about down south a lot, who's a Reiki master teacher. And I said, "Can you Reiki attune me?" Because it's an attunement process. It's kind of a thing, a process thing you go through. And she said, "Sure." So she sent me the symbols. There's symbols involved in it in the mail, and then she attuned me. And then I started having weird things happening and new things opening up and figuring out things. And so then when I got comfortable with that, I said, "Can you attune me to it too?" She said, "Sure." So she sent me new symbols. And then we went to master. And she said, "Do you want to be a master teacher?" And I said, "No." Because what I discovered for me was, although I was noticing all these things changing, the symbols and things weren't resonating to me. Now, that doesn't mean I never use the symbols, and it doesn't mean I don't believe in Reiki. I absolutely do. But for me, I needed something different. So I had gone into a prayer, meditation, connection, whatever word you want to use for it. And I said, the symbols aren't resonating for me, Spirit. I need some help.
Yeah.
Show me. And I started seeing colors. And that's when I started to identify colors with illness and colors with different modalities and colors with different things. And I use color. So I don't teach it because when people go to learn it, they want to learn Reiki and the history of Reiki, which I have great respect for, but it doesn't resonate to me. And I have never read a Reiki book.
Yeah.
I took the energy of the Reiki and went, what can I do with this? Versus a book. So I do not teach Reiki because I don't teach it in the customary form that people would choose to learn it in when they start to read about it.
But if people want to reach out to you, they can.
I teach energy classes. I can teach energy classes. And when I teach energy classes, I teach more than just Reiki. I don't even really discuss Reiki that much.
Right.
I talk about colors and perceptions and feelings and the people around you and knowing your bubble and not learning when you're being affected by somebody near you versus your own. I teach energy classes because there isn't one modality. The reason I got a little bit turned off by Reiki, and it's not Reiki in general, but the concept of the climate or whatever word you want to put with Reiki is when I was going to become a Reiki master, I thought, well, maybe I should take a class. Like I've never read a book. Before I do this, I should take a class. Maybe I should delve in and see that world, Yeah. So I called somebody that I knew that was a master teacher. I didn't know them really well, but I knew them. And I said, I'd like to sign up for your Reiki master class. They said, oh, great. The application's online. I have to fill out application. I said, okay, I'll go do that. Then what happens once I give you the application? Like, how does this work to get into your class? And they said, well, then I read the application to determine whether you're, ready and worthy to be a Reiki master. And I said, you what? Who the hell are you to decide what I can do? My perception is we can open up to all kinds of things. We can do all kinds of things. And what we're ready for is what will be allowed. And that's not for any of us to determine.
Right.
And if we're allowed something that we shouldn't probably be doing, that's to learn something from the fact that you were allowed to do something that you're not ready to do.
Yeah.
And so it kind of turned me off, in truth. I don't like to tell anybody that it's for me to decide what's best for them.
Yeah.
And I've had that conversation too. Not that I'm against life coaching. Life coaching's fine. Do it, be it, whatever. But people ask, why do you say self-empowerment coach instead of life coach? Because it's not for me to tell you how to live your life. My job for me and how I see it as my responsibility, my calling, my whatever word you want to do, is to learn and discover tools and share them. And you go decide. Mm-hmm. I could put all kinds of tools on the table. If you want to build a fence, you're going to pick what ones your hands work with best. You're going to pick which ones make sense in your mind that'll do this and that for you. Not every tool is going to work for every person. So I feel that it's my responsibility or job or whatever for my calling that's come out through life, not to tell you what to do or how to do it, but to offer you, here's my experience and here's a whole slew of tools. Which one feels right for you? Which one sounds right for you? Which one, when I talk about it, makes you go, oh, yeah, that sounds good. Good. Then that one's for you. Let's just work with that one. I had somebody call me this week. I've gotten so many calls this week, which I know it's always a clue that there's turmoil and chaos. And they said, do you have to use hypnotherapy in every single session? And I said, absolutely not. I don't use hypnosis in every session. Well, what else can you do? I said, oh. There's lots of things. Some of it's the NLP, which is talking. Some of it's lifeline therapy. Some of it's EFT. Some of it's just talking. There's sessions where people come in and we end up just talking and just allowing them to be free to speak and then rehear themselves is therapy alone.
Yeah.
Because, just this morning I was talking to my girlfriend about something. I'm like, I'm so confused about this. And she's like, well, vent it. She calls me GT from my old radio days. And she vented GT, that's how it works. And I was like, I don't even know what to vent. But of course I started and also went, hey, wait a minute. Never mind. Because it left my mouth and went back in my ears and I was able to rehear it a different way. So it's not for me to determine how or when. So when I teach, I teach a mediumship class. I do believe every single person has the ability to do this. It'll just be in different ways and different forms for all. But I teach a mediumship class and people get frustrated because they just want to go straight to the last 2 weeks. It's a 6-week course. They just want to go to the final 2 weeks of it where the mediumship takes place. Well, I won't do that, because for me to open you up to something like that, and then either you can't do it because you're not ready for it or you don't understand it, to me isn't right. So I start off with, let's talk about energy. Let's talk about meditation and the different things and what
Mm-hmm.
that means, because you may believe you have to be barefoot on a mountainside for 6 hours, and that's not true. And let's play with the pendulum. Let's learn about energy by watching a
Right.
pendulum move. Let's look at oracle cards, because that's kind of an outside source that's still with it. So I go through these steps that build you up to a place where you can go, of all the things I learned, now this is the part that works for me. It's
Ah,
not for me to say you have to do this the way I do it.
that's right.
And as Reiki people get real mad at me.
There you go. Of course, you're listening to Lisa's Changing Perceptions here on 216 The Net, brought to you through our good friends at Natural Therapy Wellness Center. Take care of you, massage, acupuncture, reflexology. Check them out at www.mchenrymassage.com. Give them a call at 815-385-8190. Shayna, good morning, says, I was wondering, if there was any specific protocol you use to protect your energy. Does it change based on what you're dealing with?
Yes. Um, I say the world's longest prayer multiple times a day. But I say prayer, I mean, I call in the peeps, is what I refer to it as. But when I start a class, I say, Father God, Mother God, Archangels, Ascended Masters, Lord Jesus, Spirit guides, loved ones who are here to love and protect me, elementals who are here to love and protect me. And people say, why you call in somebody? I'm like, because I don't know who's got the best stuff. And I don't know who is the best I can't
Oh,
tell
you
you.
don't want to leave anybody off the list. You might offend one of those spirits.
No, more so, I'm gonna miss out on the one that was meant to kick ass and really help. Um, I call in when I start to feel uncomfortable, everybody, and say, show me, guide me. Sometimes I don't know what to ask, but I know I feel really uncomfortable, and I know that I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like I'm myself. And so I'll say, please show me, guide me. And that's all I'll ask.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning I'm pulling myself back into me, and I'm feeling lost because I was out there too long. I was out of my
Mm-hmm.
element too long. And so, yeah, I'll call that in. Um, I, being my life experience, I often call my husband, because he's truthfully one of the things I trust more, especially now in spirit, than ever. I'll call in and say, honey, what's going on? Show me what's going on. What am I missing here? So yeah, depending on the situation and what it is, I'll call in different. But I probably, when you say protect myself from it, I take time, at least a minute or two, sometimes an hour or two. It depends on the situation
Mm-hmm.
and the time that I have. Probably at least a half a dozen times a day, to just take a few minutes to go,
Yeah, I
pull
think.
yourself back in, make sure that you're clear. Kent and I were just talking about it before the show. That's the difference between being an empath and empathy.
Right.
Empathy, we feel other people's emotions. That's a normal kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But to be a full blown empath, I think has been misconstrued. To be a full blown empath, you actually become consumed and can feel the energies of all over. It doesn't have to be the person next to you. I'll just say it, because I wasn't going to talk about it on the air, but I will, since this came up. This week I went to their house and for dinner, and he's, what's the matter with you? And I'm like, I feel the war. And he said, what, were you reading stuff? I go, no, not like that. I was working my job. I don't mind my job, but my daytime job, my bill paying job is what I
Mm-hmm.
call it, is kind of boring and tedious. It melts my brain sometimes. And I was just data entering and doing my thing. And all of a sudden I would get this wave of sadness to where I would just start crying. And then this wave of hopelessness to where I would just start crying and feel defeated. And I was like, what is wrong with you, Lisa? And I have these conversations in my head. Yes, what is wrong with you? What are you feeling? Why are you doing this? Do you have reasons to feel sad? Yeah, but not like this. And I sit and analyze it. And then the other day I had this overwhelming, it was all consuming feeling of taking all my things and packing them up and running away. And I thought, "Ooh, where's this coming from?" And I kind of just pull myself back in and sit with it. Where is this coming from? What am I feeling? And that's when I realized I'm feeling the panic, and I'm feeling the fear and the sadness and the hopelessness that people are feeling right now, not just in that country, but all over, I think, as they're seeing and reflecting on it. That's being an empath. And that means that you're truly consuming it, to the point that by the time I realized what was happening, I was literally like getting ready to get boxes it's an all-consuming emotion. And you have to stay tuned into yourself multiple times a day to pull yourself back, or else I really might have packed my things and been driving going, what am I doing? So it's that feeling. And a lot of people right now, I think, are feeling to those degrees and different things that they don't
Yeah.
understand, and that's where a lot of the discomfort's coming from.
And I think a lot of it to protect your own energy. There's a lot of things out there that can. There are crystals, there are stones, there you can
Whatever resonates to you.
yeah, I mean you can grab a a little pot of dirt. The earth is energy. So if you can ground yourself, is what I would say, whether it's through crystals or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, it's individualized. And that's the other
Right.
thing, when I do classes, I teach people that, because I have tons of crystals. I
Yeah.
love crystals. And it's funny because people say, do you have crystals because you can feel the energy of them? No. No, I don't
Right.
feel the energy of them. I know people, Mary Sutherland's one of them, as a matter of fact. They'll put a crystal and they can literally feel the vibration of the
Vibration.
crystal.
Hmm.
And they're like, well, then why do you have? I'm like, because they're really pretty. Like, I have like these big, I have big amethyst bookends.
Yeah.
And they're the raw ones, so they're sharp and point. I just love them.
Yeah.
We got them when we were in Tennessee, and I love them. And they're like, "Oh, you got amethyst?" I'm like, "Yeah, because I like purple." Like, I
That's why I
don't
like
feel
geodes.
crystals and things, but
Yeah.
other people do.
Hmm.
Find the thing that works for you. My girlfriend Sarah in Georgia, she struggles with the empath thing, same way I do, and she gardens. And
Hmm.
she'll turn off everything and go out and dig in the dirt and stuff, the soil, the whatever. She's like, Lisa, try gardening. I'm like, oh, I hate my hands being dirty. Like, I really like, so gardening's not my thing. So for me, my
Right.
thing is the woods. I go sit in the woods
Me
and
and
I
you both.
quiet myself,
Hmm.
and I center myself, and I just remember this is where I am. And I'll put my hands on the ground. If I go out and
Hmm.
sit literally in the woods, this is the earth where I'm at. And I told Pete this happened, I think it was last summer, maybe, or maybe it was the summer before. But I was in the woods and I went to go sit down by the pond. And I was sitting by the pond and I got mesmerized by, there was probably 100 turtles on this big branch that had fallen. And it was during all the Rona and all that, the beginning of it, And I was sitting there and I got mesmerized by these turtles. And I started to go, they don't know anything's going on in the world. They are enjoying the sun.
Living
They are
life.
appreciating the
Yeah.
water. They are just in community together. They're just hanging out, appreciating the warm, beautiful day. And I got so mesmerized in that it pulled me away from all
Hmm.
of the chaos and went right. And that's why I started talking more about my wheelhouse. Like, in that moment, I was in my wheelhouse. What is my wheelhouse right now? I am safe and I'm sitting here at this pond looking at these turtles, and it
Hmm.
learned to really pull myself back in, pull
Yeah.
myself back in. For me, that works. For other people, it's
Yeah.
crystals. For other people, it's gardening. For other people, it's a hobby.
Yeah.
You
Mary
know,
Mary says she crosses her legs and arms to close her energy field as a protection.
and if
Right.
and if that's what works for her, and that's why it has to be a personal thing.
Yeah.
Because here's the reality of it for me: the thing isn't the magic.
Right.
The belief is.
Correct.
The faith in it is.
Correct.
So if I believe that I sit in the ground and I put my bare feet and my palms, because there's chakras,
Yeah.
onto the ground, and I push the stress and anxiety out into the dirt, and I can see that and I can feel that and I know it's leaving me,
Yep.
then my body and my mind know it left me too.
Yeah.
If somebody else can hold a crystal and feel that it's absorbing that energy and they feel, then it's working for them. It's so individual and personalized.
Yeah.
But we need to find what works for us without shame. That's the other thing, is that, just because Mary's never said, Lisa, I can't believe you can't feel crystals. You must not be real.
Not to you. She
Yeah.
said, no, I'm just kidding. Yeah, that's true. And Denise Maple says, I can feel amethyst. It makes me dizzy if it's very large. And Lisa agrees with you. I don't feel the energies from crystals either, just attracted to the colors and textures.
I love them. They're
Yeah.
pretty.
It's like candles. Yeah, I always have something melting in here.
And I have, people make fun of them. I have Buddha and Kuan Yin. I have more Buddhas and Kuan Yins than people could believe. So people are saying, you Buddhist? I'm like, no. But there's something, I mean, I suppose that aspects of it, but there's something about when I see them and when I have them around me and I look at them, I
Yeah.
feel calmer. I just like them. I like the way they look. I like
Mhm.
the carvings in them. I've been looking desperately for a Ganesh, Do you know what Ganesh is? Ganesh is the elephant that you see that's all ornate
Oh,
and what have you.
beautiful.
And I love Ganesh, but Ganesh is incredibly
I
expensive. To find a really good one is incredibly expensive.
I thought it
It,
was a dish from Europe.
no,
I didn't know.
no, the Ganesh is a goddess, and it's meant the elephant being strong and powerful is
Right.
something that can help you to channel and to knock down boundaries in front of you, knock
Mhm.
down walls that are blocking you. And but people are like, is that what you think about? And I just think they're cool.
Yeah.
Like I
No,
just
they are.
really think they're cool. And when I see them, they make me happy because I think they're cool.
Yeah.
You know, um, I I do love them, but they don't. I don't sit and hug my. I have a three. It's probably 3 feet tall porcelain Kuan Yin statue, and it's actually in my bathroom, sitting in there. I don't go hug it.
Yeah.
I find it pretty. I like the energy of it. I like those things that you've got to be able to find what works for you to pull yourself back. For some people, that's a hobby. If you go talk to somebody who, just for example, does woodworking or something like ornate woodworking and things, and you say, what are you doing out in your shop all day, all weekend while you're not working? Why are you working so hard out there? Many of them will say, that's my peace. Because that's their meditative moment where they're only focused on exactly what they're doing right now. And they're focused on it from a heart and a truth and a desire to do it and a pride in doing it. And, it's that feeling. That's what you're looking for. It doesn't have to be a specific thing. You're looking for the thing that pulls you into where you are right now in the moment and keeps you zoned there to let your body and your mind rest,
Right.
no matter what it is.
Right.
Mine was my motorcycle at one time.
Oh, it was always good.
When I was losing my mind, it's like plug my, because you could plug in my iPod, and I just go ride country roads with the music blaring because I forgot about anything else. It's not, bikers will call it wind therapy.
Yeah. Hmm.
So whatever it is you need.
Yeah. Whatever. Like your car ride.
Right. And that was I haven't done that in so long. That was
Yeah.
so nice yesterday.
Yeah. Shayna says connecting a thought with a physical motion
Correct.
helps her settle as well.
Right, because that's changing the energy of our body, and that has to do with the body mind connection.
Mhm.
And people not realizing that what we think and what we process does affect our physical body. They are connected. So connecting it to an emotion allows that emotion to flourish. But we get to choose which one we're going to connect to. And sometimes it might have to take some work.
Sure.
Sure. Might take some energy and some work. And here's the thing, if you have chronic anger coming up, stop pushing that back down. Ask yourself, ooh, I'm pissed.
Get rid of it.
Why am I pissed? And I've said it on the show before. How do you help somebody not be angry anymore? By giving them permission to be angry.
Right. Well, get it out. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Acknowledge it. There's nothing wrong with being angry. There might be something wrong with your response to anger, but there's nothing wrong with getting angry. So how do you help somebody not be angry? Give them permission to be angry.
Right.
Because anybody who tells somebody that they're not angry ever is a liar. It's a liar. They may have learned how to hide it. They may have learned how to rid themselves of it faster. But anger comes up in all of us at some point. Yeah. We all become angry or frustrated over something. Our response to it may change. But to tell somebody that that's not a normal feeling, it's not. And people who have been told that for so long are told that their reaction to it is wrong, and maybe it is. But by just making more wrong creates more anger.
Yeah.
So again, how do you help somebody who's angry? Give them permission to be angry. How do you help somebody who's depressed? Give them permission to be depressed.
Absolutely.
How do you help somebody who's feeling not enough? Give them permission not to feel enough. Allow permission to feel. And guess what happens when you no longer have to hide it? It doesn't need to show itself so powerfully. It doesn't need to come beat you up. What are you laughing? Who said something bad?
Shayna. Men on a riding lawnmower on a summer day looks like a secret form of practical zen.
When we had our house years ago, when I was, married with kids, the kids were little, we had an acre lot.
Yeah.
And I was the tractor rider. And I will say, absolutely.
It is.
Absolutely.
I love mowing my lawn, trimming my lawn. I love it. There is therapy about it.
I don't love that part of it, but I did love the tractor. Partially as a mom escape for an hour and a half where dad watched the kids and I was just out there,
Yep.
doing it. But yeah, it is. It's a meditative moment.
Yeah.
And part of that is that the tractor can be so loud that it's drowning out all the outside noises. So it's just you.
Right.
It's just you and the tractor. And absolutely, that's a fabulous,
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
whatever works for whomever, whatever makes you happy.
And I've shared it on the station several times. Once a year, I go out to the woods for 5 days.
Right. Your man week.
Just totally unplugged. The phone doesn't work because it's in the middle of the woods, and that's where I just sit and watch the river, or you just sit in silence and do nothing. Mary Shep, good morning, says I cook. Yeah.
Yes, and Mary Shep, I'm so glad you tuned in, because I'll be getting a hold of you in the near future, because I have gone gluten-free. And I need tips. I need tips. For those of you who don't know Mary Shep, tell them about how they can get on Mary Shep's show. She's fabulous.
Mary is on at 11 a.m. on Saturday morning Central Time, living low sodium. She is just an incredible. Go to mylowsolifestyle.com for recipes and things like that. She is amazing. But tune in, like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Specifically, Mary Shep, I need to learn about gluten-free bread, because I don't like paying $6 for a half a loaf. So I need to learn about flour. Mary Shep's fabulous, you guys. And you know what? I'll plug her here too, because one of the things I love about Mary Shep is she is just about as down to earth, everyday chat with person as you get. And bless her heart, how did Mary Shep learn everything that she learned? Because life kicked her ass and she made a choice.
That's right.
I can either suffer or I can conquer. I can educate myself, learn, and change, or I can be a victim.
Yep.
And Mary Shep chose to conquer and change.
That's right.
And so she's fabulous, and I recommend you listen to her. And I'm not just sucking up so that she helps me make bread.
She says that is a tough one, but I'll help.
Yeah, I also do not have time to regularly make bread myself, but I would like to at least know how. So I was just talking about her the other day. I'm like, I gotta come here and find out how to do this, because there's only so much you can do and you got to figure it out. But
and that's the joy of being part of the 216 family.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is a little bit of everything. There truly is a little bit of everything. I'm trying to talk Dr. K into doing his own show.
I would love it. I like that dude.
Yeah. I'm trying to talk him into it.
Suffering sucks, Mary says. I tried it, didn't like it, so I chose to be happy instead.
But how did you choose to be happy when you realize that suffering sucks? And how do you learn that suffering sucks? By you allow yourself to do it.
Right.
And then at some point, you have to make the choice, same as the other married. Yeah. You have to choose, do I want to feel this way the rest of my life, or will I venture into the unknown that I haven't done before?
Right.
But you can't do that until you give yourself permission to make the choice.
Correct.
And oftentimes people self-sabotage and don't feel that they deserve to. Well, it's got to become so uncomfortable. We've talked about it before. I call it the tipping of the scales. It's got to become so uncomfortable that you would rather risk something unknown and different, and you would rather risk trying it than live the way you're feeling the rest of your life. And everybody's level of that is a little bit different. Yeah. But how did you discover being miserable sucked? You let yourself be miserable for a little while.
You had to wallow.
You gave yourself permission.
Over on the whiteboard, you'll see I have rules for success, and these are rules that I try to live by and try to help teach my kids. And one of them you'll see is practice mindfulness.
And that's a misconceived word now too.
Correct, right? So practice mindfulness is just what you've been talking about. Just sit for a minute and be present right here, right now. Right. Don't get out over the skis. Don't look in the rearview mirror.
Right.
As a very hard thing for people to do. But you have to learn and practice mindfulness. That's kind of that Zen Buddhist thing. But I don't want to use Zen Buddhist because that offends Christians or whatever.
Right.
But if you practice mindfulness, what is happening right now? Why do I feel like I do right now? Why am I reacting?
That's why I start with when people are just learning that, especially in the office, because I obviously it's so funny because people think they're offending me, and I totally know it. I am like the last man standing when it comes to people coming in the office. Usually they've tried absolutely everything else, and now they're getting to the weird lady. I might as well try this because nothing else has worked. That does not even hurt my feelings anymore. But one of the things I do is I give them self questions, which promote mindfulness, but I don't tell them to be mindful because mindfulness, everybody does think it's that means we're back to that meditation for 3 hours thing, mindfulness. So one of the great questions I held them, ask myself, I have two of them. One is, do you have evidence of that? Because our mind starts to spin and to get into all these worst case scenarios.
Yeah.
Do you have evidence of that? Simple question.
Yeah.
In other words, do I have evidence that that's about to happen? Do I have evidence that that's going to happen? Has anything really told me that? It's a way of teaching yourself when your mind is spinning versus what's real around you in the moment.
That's great.
And when people come in and they're filled with anger and blame, when they're blaming someone else for everything. Yeah. Okay. And what role did you play in that? That's it. That's not blame.
No.
That's just a question. And what role did I play in that?
Yeah.
That I ask myself that question regularly. Because there's been situations where people are like, I can't believe that person did this to you. Or I can't believe that happened to you. Well, you know what I can't believe? I can't believe that I allowed it.
Right.
Is that a criticism? No. Reality. Yeah. What role did I play in that?
Something was telling me this was not going to go good, but I went through with it anyway.
Right. And did somebody else make me? No. Yeah. Really? No. Nobody made me. So I have two choices in that matter. Remain repeating the cycle, or okay, can't change everything around me, but I can change my response to it. And the only way I can truly change my response to it is to be honest with myself and say, hey, girl, what role you play in that? I love it. How did you feed that fire?
Shayna is, and I like what she says here too, as we're rolling on the backside of this with only 5 minutes left. This went quick without a topic today. To conquer, practice, and then to teach others. Sometimes the suck is the ignition to a calling.
And it also can be the definition of teach others. I struggle with that too. Okay. Because I don't feel it's my responsibility to teach someone something. I feel it's my responsibility to share how I feel, how I see what I've learned and what I've experienced as an offering. But I am not responsible to teach them, because in order to teach them, I have to be responsible for their learning. And I'm not responsible for what other people learn. I'm only responsible for what I present.
What you can share.
My integrity level of what I present. How people choose to take it or absorb it is upon them. And I say that like that's something that I've always been, and it's completely not. There was a time that I did feel it was my responsibility to make sure that other people could see the truth. And it took a whole lot of failure at that for me to realize that the only person I can help see the truth is me, for me, and that my truth isn't going to be your truth. And that the only true responsibility I have as far as others is to hold my integrity and do no harm. So yeah, it depends on your definition of teach.
Right.
Yes, there are people who look at me a teacher when it comes to certain things. But it depends, like I said, how you're viewing teaching. To teach means that I'm responsible for you to learn.
Right.
And I'm not responsible for you to learn. I'm responsible for what I present.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to take what I present as an offering, cool. Yep. Maybe it doesn't work for you. And if you do, amazing. I'll share with you my experience, because in truth, that's what teaching is. Unless you're reading out of a textbook that you don't believe in, teaching is sharing your experience. And if that helps someone else, amazing. Yep. And if it doesn't, then that wasn't meant for you. Like Denise, who's listening, I was just talking about this the other day. It's funny because Denise and I do similar things, but we're not the same. And she's heard me say this a million times. I was just telling Christina, my friend, the other day, because Denise and I brought up a little venture with Denise that we're pondering. But when people ask, well, you two do the same thing, don't you feel competitive? I'm like, first off, we don't do the same thing. And secondly, she's nicer than me. I have no shame in saying that. She's a sweet, nice person. I don't have that kind of disposition. Do we both teach with our heart, with integrity? And do we mean what we say? Yes, but we have different personalities for different reasons. And that's what I mean by the teach. For me to say that I'm teaching means that you have to see it my way, and I'm responsible that you do.
Yep.
No, I have to present it my way, and you choose what to keep.
Yeah.
I don't know another way to put it.
No, that's a good way to put it.
Denise is going to be on the show. I forget what date. Forgive me. I want to say the 20th. Is that right, Denise? She's going to come on the show with me. She is a wonderful, wonderful spiritual advisor as well as a spiritual business coach. Um, she's a nice person. She's been on the show before, so she's going to come on the 20th, and we're going to talk about that and promote her in both ways, especially business coaching. Her perception of business coaching is interesting because it's from a spiritual perception. So she's going to come on the 20th, and I'm still trying to get Naomi to call me back because I really want them to come on the show too, but we'll see what happens. Are there any other questions as we're down to like a minute or two? I told you I totally had no topic today.
She says yes, March 20th.
Okay.
Yay. Yeah, no, that's it. We are right where we need to be for the show. You did great there.
And are we plugging or not plugging? How confident are you?
Yeah, we can plug away. That'll be out
well,
there.
You do it.
Go out. Our online store will be up and running this afternoon. Lisa's got three MP3s out there. So for just reflection and a little
right. We did the first. We did mind body connection, inner child, and pain. I believe was the other one because we've got a few of them recorded. We're only putting out 3 right now. So those will be available, and those for doing self-help at home, self-work at home. You'll be able to just do like a guided type of self-hypnosis at home to help to clear some things, and we'll have more topics to come. And Kent is promising me that this afternoon they're really out.
Yep, we're right there. We're a couple weeks behind, but we got it. So if you want to check those out, go to www.216thenet and go to the store. That's going to be live here after.
What did we put them on for? $9.99?
Yeah, $9.99 or 3 for $50. No, $9.99 or I think you said
3 for $25. Yeah.
Yep. So,
perfect. Yay.
They're great MP3s that you can download into your phone, use at work, whatever. Just quick little 10, 15 minute.
Yeah, lay in your bed, sit in your favorite chair in the comfort of your own home. They're techniques that I use in the office.
Yep. So for all of us here at 216 the Net, thanks so much for joining us, and stick around right now for Fellowship of Faith Worship Hour. Thanks.
Have a good weekend, everybody.